The Google Pixel 10 lineup is now official. Google invited me to Paris last month to check them all out, and I've made a list of 10 changes that I think are the biggest. Speaking of the biggest, we're also running a big limited time discount on our lifetime purchase option for wallpapers, where you can get over 2,000 stunning wallpapers all in 1x1 8K at just £39.99. This not just supports the channel and our 30 plus designers from all around the world, but it also gives you some amazing wallpapers that you can use on your phone, tablet, and desktop. Now, the first and definitely the biggest change for me is Pixel Snap, which is Google's take on Apple's MagSafe. Essentially, all Pixel 10s now support Qi 2 wireless charging, Qi 2 being the latest wireless charging standard. With faster 25-watt wireless charging speeds, and just like MagSafe, it also includes alignment magnets on the inside, so that you can automatically mount your phone on accessories like pop sockets or car chargers, and so on. In fact, Apple was even involved in the development of the Qi 2 standard, which is an open standard, so anyone can use it. However, up until now, we haven't had any official Qi 2 phones. The Samsung Galaxy S25 series was Qi 2 ready, as in it supported a 25-watt faster charging speeds, but it didn't have those magnets on the inside. You had to buy a case for them. Whereas the new Pixels are full Qi 2 compatible. Therefore, they do have those magnets inside. That means that they will work with all of Apple's MagSafe chargers and accessories, which is really cool. However, on top of that, Google will also be selling Qi 2 accessories, which they're calling Pixel Snap. These are a new ecosystem of accessories, ranging from chargers to cases to docks and much more. So that's the first major change, Pixel Snap. The second is that we also get new camera hardware. The base Pixel 10 now comes with 3 lenses instead of 2. The new lens is a 10.8 megapixel 5x telephoto module. In fact, this is the same telephoto module as on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold and the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. It's fine, nothing special, but then again, considering that this phone costs £799, I honestly don't believe any other phone on the market even comes with this level of a telephoto camera for this price. So I'm really happy that Google decided to include this. The main camera is actually a bit of a downgrade now, as it's a 48 megapixel sensor from the previous 50 megapixels, and the sensor itself is also smaller at 1/2 inches, as opposed to the previous 1/1.31 inches. In fact, this is now the same as the main camera on the Pixel 9a, so it is no longer a flagship camera. While the ultra-wide is also downgraded, as it's a 13 megapixel sensor from the previous 48, and also with a smaller 1/3.1 inch sensor as opposed to the previous 1/2.55. So I guess that Google did have to cut some corners somewhere to give us that new 5x telephoto. The Pixel 10 Pro and 10 Pro XL's camera hasn't really changed, aside from the improved image stabilization with double the range as before. However, we do get one camera software feature that's exclusive to the Pro models, that being ProRes Zoom. Not to be confused with the ProRes Kodak that Apple has, at up to 100x usable zoom, according to Google. Google's using their own on-device AI to upscale the images, hence why they're claiming 100x zoom is actually usable now. I haven't tested this yet, but from the sample that Google showed us, it did look very promising. And lastly, we have the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, which actually gets a new main camera according to Google. Although, if you look at the specs, this camera still looks identical to the previous Pixel 9 Pro Fold's camera. 48 megapixels in resolution, f1.7 aperture, and a 1/2 inch sensor, so I'm not really sure what's new here. Maybe a newer produced sensor with the same specs but better light sensitivity, that would just be my guess, but anyway, all these pixels, they do get the much improved image processing as well, thanks to the new Google designed ISP inside the new Tensor G5 chip, which is actually our third biggest upgrade. The Tensor G5 is now manufactured on a 3nm process down from 4, and it is also now made by TSMC as opposed to Samsung. The performance numbers that Google's claiming here are quite impressive. 60% more powerful TPU, so on-device AI should be significantly faster, and 34% more powerful CPU. That's also way more efficient. Thanks to this, you can now run the latest version of Gemini Nano on device, and every single other new Gemini feature would also process much faster now. Aside from this, Google also upgraded the screens on all Pixel 10s. The Pixel 10 can now go up to 3000 nits, up from 2700. Then the 10 Pro and 10 Pro XL can now go up to 3300 nits from 3000, which Google's now claiming to be the brightest display on a smartphone. While the Pixel 10 Pro Fold can now go up to 3000 nits on both screens as opposed to 2700, and also has quite a bit thinner bezels now. All in all, these are some really nice display improvements. The fifth big upgrade is the charging speeds. I've already mentioned the 25-watt Qi to wireless charging speeds. The 25-watt charging speeds only apply to the Pixel 10 Pro XL, by the way. The rest get up to 15 watts instead. Still, even this is a good upgrade from the previous wireless charging speeds of just 7.5 watts on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold or 12 watts on the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro. However, the cable charging speeds also get a good bump. The Pixel 10, 10 Pro, and 10 Pro Fold can now do 30 watts up from 27 for a 55% charge in 30 minutes, while the Pixel 10 Pro XL now gets up to 45 watts of fast charging up from 37 watts for a 70% charge in 30 minutes. But it's not just the charging that's been improved, we also get larger batteries. The Pixel 10 goes up from 4700 to 4970, the Pixel 10 Pro goes from 4700 to 4870, the 10 Pro XL goes from 5060 to 5200, while the Pixel 10 Pro Fold gets the biggest bump from 4650 to 5015, which is actually the largest non-silicon carbon battery ever on a foldable. As yes, Google still doesn't have any silicon carbon batteries inside, which means that unfortunately, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is also quite thick and pretty heavy. When unfolded, it is 5.1 millimeters thick, same as before, and considerably thicker than many other foldables, like the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, which is almost an entire millimeter thinner at 4.2. And when folded, it is now 10.8 millimeters thick, which is actually thicker than the Pixel 9 Pro Fold at 10.5. So at 10.8, it is actually the thickest foldable to be launched in 2025. The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 is just 8.9 when folded, so almost 2 millimeters thinner here. Plus, it is also very heavy, 1 gram heavier than before at 258 grams as opposed to just 215 of the Galaxy Z Fold 7, and that really shows. Holding it in my hand kind of feels like holding a brick, especially after getting used to my Galaxy Z Fold 7, as well as some other great foldables like the Oppo Find N5. And I know, some of you may be saying that the reason why the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is so thick is because they wanted to put that big 5015 mAh battery inside, which is true. However, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 with its smaller 4400 mAh battery, also non-silicon carbon, does last me for an entire day. And I'm very happy with this phone, especially considering how thin it is. So I would have loved to have seen Google thin the body down and give us a more modern design. I guess that's what the Pixel 11 Pro Fold will be next year. However, there is another reason why the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is so thick, aside from that battery size. And that's the fact that this is the world's first IP68 rated foldable. That means that it's not just waterproof, but also dustproof, something that we never see on foldables because of that hinge. In fact, Google designed an entirely new hinge here that doesn't use any gears inside to move. So yeah, I just cannot wait to see a teardown of this. And thanks to this new hinge, dust is no longer a concern. Okay, at number 9, I feel like the colors really deserve a mention this year, as they're especially nice. The Pixel 10 comes in Indigo, Frost, Lemongrass, and the classic Obsidian. Indigo is by far my favorite. It's this super vibrant blue that reminds me of the iPhone 16 blue, and also of the original Google Pixel blue, if you guys remember that. While Frost and Lemongrass are both a more pastel version, especially the Frost. Then, the Pixel 10 Pro and 10 Pro XL come in the classic Obsidian and Porcelain, and also in Moonstone and Jade. Jade is in fact quite similar, I would say, to the Pixel 10's Lemongrass, just a bit more muted, while Moonstone is this dark gray with a hint of blue in it. Definitely my favorite color so far. While the Pixel 10 Pro Fold only comes in 2 colors, Moonstone and Jade. So no Obsidian for some strange reason. And lastly, there are also a number of new Gemini features that come to all new Pixel 10s. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them here as there are quite a lot. Also, we couldn't film these properly at the briefing, but one that I do want to mention is called Magic Queue. This suggests automatic replies and messages based on everything that you've got on your phone. For example, if a friend asks you at what time the movie reservation is, you'll literally get a suggestion to reply with the actual time for the movie that your Pixel will source from Gmail. But other than that, do hit that subscribe button for more Pixel 10 videos, camera comparisons as well, and comment down below if you also want to see some videos covering the new Pixel Watch 4 and the new Pixel Buds 2a. I'm Daniel, this is ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.